Hello and welcome to The Extra Mile. I'm Linda Boudreau. Our guest today is Deborah Norsworthy. Deborah has been on before with the Children's Museum, but she's also a local artist, and today we get to meet her in a new light and find out about her own work and what it is that she does. So Deborah, wonderful to have you here today.
It's good to be here again, Linda. Thank you.
Just kind of taking things to a whole new level and a whole new place with your art. And I guess it's not surprising that you're an artist considering what you do for a living, but what is your art all about? What is it that you do?
Well, I got into art through writing. I am principally a writer, and I have worked ever since I finished graduate school. I have worked as an editor or writer, and then I sort of phased out of that into wanting to write creatively and write longer things than 3-page articles and editorials. And so I started writing books. I wrote a memoir and I wrote a couple of novels. But the process of trying to get my first novel, published was so frustrating that finally, in order to give attention to my second novel, I needed to have this sense of closure with the first. So I made a book. I wanted to see it actually done.
So you took the manuscript and made it into a book?
I took the manuscript, and now with computers as they are, you can actually typeset your material. There are typesetting programs that you can use where you can get something that looks typeset right out of your computer. I wasn't quite that sophisticated. I just made up my own page and then I put it together rather laboriously. But I ended up with something that looked like a book. And then, so I had written the book, I had typeset and printed out the book, and then I had to figure out how to bind the book. So I found some books on bookmaking. And
never one to be discouraged.
Yes, and I figured out, and I bound just a tiny little thing, almost a pamphlet, just to kind of get an idea of how a book could be put together. And there are different ways that a book can be made, and I found a way that I could do it. And so I ended up creating, in this case, I created a book block out of 2 sections, but I punched the pages and then stitched them together in these 2 blocks. It's easier maybe to see on a little book like this because this has just 1 block, but all these pages.
And we're going to hold this up.
Yeah, I would sew all these.
So do you hand sew that?
I hand sew them, yeah.
Look at that.
With quilting. I used quilting thread.
Okay.
There's also, and I have used linen, waxed linen, which bookbinders often use. And so I figured out then how once you have your book block, then you actually glue with PVA, which is an archival white glue.
Okay.
With PVA, you glue your hard book cover to what becomes the fly page of the book. It's the top page.
So you actually started making books.
I started making books, yeah.
You did.
And this little book, this is much easier to put together than this one just because it's smaller. And this is a book that I'm making. Somebody's asked me to make this for a friend for her birthday. And I'm still in the process. It's not done. I'm not done with the cover, but it's sort of put together. And so you can see that there's this middle part.
How do you put the cover onto the pages?
Okay, then the cover, there's 2 parts to the cover. There's, if you can see here, I don't know how well you can see. You can see where the red part ends and then we go to this part.
Right.
Those are 2 distinct parts. And so I put just this board on that goes, it doesn't go all the way around the spine. I put this book board on first.
Got it.
And then I cut this piece and I wrap it around. And to get this little crease here, it sort of naturally goes down, but then when I glue it, I take pencils, 2 round pencils. I put one here and I put one here. And I've also used, on bigger books, I've used knitting needles. And then I just kind of hold it real hard until the glue sets a little bit. and then I embellish the cover, and I'll embellish the fly pages too, so that perhaps I'll even put some mulberry paper or some art papers or something over this to create the book. And in this case, this is a book that will be written in by friends. I made another book actually for someone's wedding where she used it as her guest book.
That is so cool. Now, before you put that one down,
Yeah.
and the cover here, now you're making, this is a collage.
I'm doing
right?
a collage on there, and I'm still figuring it out. The collage isn't done. This is an in-process work, but I'm creating a collage on here.
But then when you finish it, will you cover it with shellac or any? How do you preserve it?
I do. I put a coat of, here, this is the front actually, a coat of satin polyurethane, usually just enough to protect it. I don't need to try and get a deep glossy finish.
We're not trying to roller skate on it.
Right, no, not yet, not yet. And that does help to protect the papers, you know, so that if somebody, for instance, this is a book that I've loaned out a bit and it still looks pretty good. If somebody has spilled coffee on it, I don't know that. Of course, yeah, and then the...
this is beautiful. So you did all of this?
Yeah, I did that work on the inside and then created some small collages. The first, I've made seven of these, and incorporated this is a mulberry paper, incorporated those papers into it too. So, and I realized after I'd made the book.
Now this is your book right here?
This is one that I wrote, and I realized after I made it, and I gave a copy to my daughter, and I have a few, and a couple of friends I've given them to. And then I thought, well, when I die, somebody might throw the manuscript away, but they won't throw the book away.
No, they won't throw the book away.
So I thought, well, that was a way, at least, of keeping, you know, what I had written if it never gets published. I mean, I still have some aspirations to doing that.
Now, wait, what's the name of your book?
This book is called The Matisse Bag.
Okay, I have to ask, just what's it about? Just you know, kind of give us a quick little overview.
Okay,
I just have to know because I'm nosy like
it starts out with a woman who she's very joyful and, you know, just experiencing her life in a town that she loves living in, but she gets completely dislocated from that and from a lot of things she connects with in her life. And so it starts like this and it goes down, and she falls in love with an artist and has an experience then with him that brings out the artist in herself, which is apparent from the beginning, but it just really realizes that in her more and more. So it's about her encounter with art and nature and God and romance.
Ooh,
I guess
all the good stuff.
So all the good stuff. Yeah, and then I had